All right, in the latest Twitter feud, former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey took to the platform last night to blast CNN's Brian Stelter, criticizing the network for, quote, trying to create conflict.
Now, Dorsey began his Twitter rant in response to a post from Stelter, who shared an article accusing Fox News host Tucker Carlson of selling doubt to his audience, in which Dorsey replied, "And you all are selling hope?"
Dorsey then responded to another Twitter user who claimed CNN's personalities sometimes sell false news, to which he then replied, "I know this from being on the streets of Ferguson during the protests and watching them try to create conflict and film it, causing the protesters to chant bleep CNN."
Joining us now to discuss is radio show host Steve Sanchez and Vice President of TAG Strategies, Aaron Perini. Thank you both for joining us. Aaron, your thoughts on this back and forth, CNN trying to stir things up?
CNN always tries to stir things up, but this is Jack Dorsey trying to hold up a mirror and say, oh, look, CNN, you do this as well. And of course, Brian Stelter freaked out a little bit when somebody put a mirror in his face about his reporting and his style. Jack Dorsey is not an innocent bystander in this. In fact, he should hold that mirror to himself for the suppression of information, the silencing of conservative voices, the shadow banning we have seen on the Twitter platform. Across the board, generally speaking in media, there should be more of a conversation when it comes to authenticity, reporting, and when opinion gets mixed in with reporting, because you see at multiple outlets, your CNNs, your MSNBCs, where they conflate the two, they conflate fact, fake news, and their personal opinion all the time to try and sway their audience to their side. It's not journalism, it's malpractice.
Steve, what do you think?
I agree with Aaron. It's very rich coming from Jack Dorsey, who has been the poster child for sequestering this and creating conflict. And I wonder if it's maybe in part because Elon Musk has made a play for Twitter. I wonder if Jack Dorsey right now is coming out trying to optically look like he is a centrist and he's about free speech and telling the truth, which I think at this point, I would hope at this point everybody knows that's just bogus. That's a lie. Jack Dorsey is not a very honest guy, and he doesn't like people speaking their minds, and he has a real problem with the First Amendment. So it's rich that he's knocking on CNN, which I agree with him, by the way. But as Aaron said, he needs to look in the mirror.
Yeah. Our very own Alex Salvi shared a screenshot of the exchange and said that the ex-Twitter boss was defending Tucker Carlson, to which Dorsey then replied and said, and I think, Aaron, you used this phrase, not defending a thing, holding up a mirror.
Which, by the way, the headline, he's responding to our Alex Salvi.
Yeah.
That is the headline, right? Newsmax Alex Salvi pushes Jack Dorsey into confrontation here because when he pushed back on Jack and said, look, he's actually advocating for a different side than you would hear in the CNNs or the MSNBCs of the world, Jack stood up and engaged back. He seems to be on this push, and I think Steve is probably right. This is probably a larger play and conversation on Jack's part because of Elon playing into this.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more, and I think it is kind of ironic. I think Steve tries to portray himself as above all the mess that's on Twitter, but that's where they make their money, and that's essentially their reason for being, is to have those conversations.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree. It's funny, you rarely hear from Jack Dorsey. The guy is a hermit. And all of a sudden now Jack Dorsey is jumping into the public forum, so to speak, and now
it's interesting timing. Just wanted to get your thoughts on CNN. Warner Brothers Discovery has suspended all external marketing, any spend for the CNN Plus. It's laid off its chief financial officer as it weighs what to do with its subscription streaming service moving forward. Steve, I'll let you comment on that. Apparently, it's not going well.
No, it's not. Look, and Bob, look, I've never been one about sequestering anybody's speech. You know, CNN goes to the left. I think we all know that. but the left needs to have their voice. They need to have their platform as well. I have no problem with any of that. But let's just be honest, we're capitalists, and the market will determine what's successful and what's not. And CNN is just not successful because it's TMZ reporting. It just really is. There's not journalism there anymore. Journalism left CNN a long time ago. So people are like, why am I going to go spend money on CNN Plus with Chris Wallace when literally CNN doesn't give me anything? It's time to jump over to Newsmax. I think that's what they're saying, Bob.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, Aaron, with the new, the new CEO or the person coming in to take over CNN, he says he wants them to go back to being what CNN began as, which is straight news. And I just don't know if they can go back down that road.
I also get the feeling
and people
that
would believe it.
I get the feeling when Zucker was in there, Aaron, that it was his little toy store, and he was putting on these little shows, little entertainment. I don't think he is a real news person. I'm sorry. And that's why he had those shows on the weekends, the 70s, the 80s, which frankly did pretty well. But it's not a news organization like that.
But the new guy wants to make it a news organization, he said.
They do. They said they wanted to pivot back, but CNN Plus is the brainchild of Zucker, right? If they wanted to set $230 million on fire, they could have just given me the $200 million plus dollars. I would have gladly taken that off their hands, and they could have saved themselves the embarrassment of CNN Plus going down in flames so quickly. But you can't just like pick up dog poop, put it in a bag, and say it's something new. CNN's not journalistic anymore, and so they think that if they just repackage the same thing over again, people will buy it. They won't. Why would someone pay more for what they already get on their cable network when they know they don't like it there in the first place? They're not going to pay more to have it somewhere else. If they want to burn money, come burn it my way. I'll take care of that for you.
Yeah, and the analogy I wasn't expecting, and I appreciate that, Aaron.